Today, we are going to do the first part. We are going to do about online teaching a little bit, and we are going to share our experiences, okay? What you've done due to the lockdown. I try to avoid the word COVID. If I say it, just penalize me. I don't want to know anything about this back, okay? I don't want to know about this virus. So I'm going to talk about lockdown and anything like that. But that's the idea. We are going to share our experiences, and we are going to learn one interesting model that is called PICRAT. And we are going to do an exercise as well. We are going to share the stuff through Padlet, okay? Through the Padlet that you were invited, okay? So this is what we are going to do. In the second session, we are going to talk about interactivity and interaction. We are going to learn about how to do interactive videos and how to produce these interactive videos with a tool called EduPuzzle, okay? So we are going EdPuzzle. It's called EdPuzzle, no EduPuzzle, EdPuzzle. And we are going to practice this on the second session. And I'm going to give you as well in the second session information on how to design a digital breakout. That is, do you remember that we did that escape room in class in Barcelona? That there was a virus, you know, that we had to solve. So we are going to learn how to do the same thing, but digital, okay? And we are going to learn that in the second session, because then you'll do one that you have to present on the last session, okay? You have a week to build one and then to share it with the rest. And in the last one, the last part, we are going with another Padlet, we are going to share, you know, advice and tips that we could be using when teaching online. Okay, 15. Can anyone comment on this? Can anyone comment on this word cloud? Yes, Tamar. Mike.
As I see here, most of us felt very positively to the process, and I think we were excited because we just had your training, and we all are involved in the PRINTeL project. So for us, I felt like, oh, very good time to experience and adapt all I have learned theoretically and do it in a real during the real classes. So it was a little bit weird for my colleagues because I was excited and the others were very confused.
Yeah, it's quite, you know, it's fun. It's funny that you said interesting. It surprised me because I've done this, you know, little task with a lot of teachers now from different countries, and I'll show you the most of the words that appeared. Here we have the interesting one. That is kind of, you know, it's a little bit neutral, but this is what you were saying, Tamar. It's kind of, you know, exciting. I'm going to try all the stuff I learned, and I can, you know, in a way, I'm advantageous from other people, from other teachers. Did you, Tamar, before I pass the word to Aya, did you help your colleagues? Did they ask for help, Tamar?
Yes, this is very interesting that as I had just say that more experience in online teaching and using all these tools we learned during the trainings, and my colleagues knew about it. Some of them asked me, and eventually I organized a little webinar for my close colleagues who were willing to share my experience, and it was very pleasant for me that they used my experience, and I had opportunities to share it.
Good. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. For me, I would say it was a little different. I didn't had experience before. I didn't had your training. I had training with San Diego State University, but that training was in summer. So half of the time I had to figure out myself a lot of things. I wrote interesting, but it was interesting because I had to figure out myself. And I have to be honest, at some point I was, in the beginning, we were not given any training. So in one day you start immediately to teach online, and I am teaching architecture. So
Wow.
it's not easy.
Yeah. You have to think differently. And
Yeah.
approach it differently. I taught people who are teaching sculpture.
Yeah. So
or physical education, or or work in lab. So it was not easy in that respect. Okay, and that's much more difficult. And in those cases, teachers had to be really creative. In some social sciences subjects, it's easier, okay? Because there is no, well, there's a practical part, because I know, me, that I do lots of practical things as well, but it's easier to adapt. In some subjects, it's much more difficult. Maria.
Thank you. I think it was high time to familiar with these teaching methods, and we did it. Being in your courses. As regards this pandemic period, as I'm delivering history, it was the high time to use all the equipment, all the tools for summarizing, for checking, for example, Kahoot, Socrative, Mentor. And one thing that I didn't manage to organize is escape room version in online platform. And I hope we will do it in these 3 days, and I will know new things about escape room version, because in university, in classroom, I did it, and it was really, really amazing one.
What did you do? Was completely online, or at some points you had other different teaching situation? Anyone?
Can I say something?
Yes, Hasmik.
In our case, where I'm from engineering university, in the case of engineering education, I think it's a difficulty. There is a difficulty, and when laboratory practical work is an important part and obligatory from the students of view, online lessons are not enough to gain complete knowledge. So also online exams and tests are not enough to reflect all students' knowledge gained. So I think it will be proper for us to apply blended or hybrid learning.
Right. You see, there are some degrees. In our case, in our university, I did everything online. I mean, from the social science, and I had no problem at all, as Hasmik was saying. But in some faculties, they did more the blended and the hybrid. Okay, they did both. although there are differences, okay? And I'm going to talk about a little bit about the dual delivery or the hybrid learning, okay? The hybrid learning is kind of a difficult one. So in the end, what you did is blended. Did you manage to do lab? Because in our cases, the faculties that they had lab sessions, they didn't ask all the students at the same time. They split the groups in groups, in little groups. So they moved to the labs and they did the lab sessions. Okay. What was your experience in your university? What happened in architecture? What happened in other technical degrees?
As Hassan said, we have the same situation because, let's say, my faculty, 12 faculties at university, but some faculties can, like engineering faculties, mostly use a blended methods. Again, we have the labs, and it's very important to handmade things. Students should make something to make measuring. Of course, we can use some computer design programming, but mostly we prefer for students to be, how to say, more demanding in the market. They should do some handmade things. So that's why we mostly use blended methods.
Blended.
My faculty is power engineering, telecommunication, and otherwise. It's impossible just to explain some methods or go deeply and use some MATCAD or some software programming. But we prefer for students, again, because market requires not only know how to explain some things, you have to make some measuring or make some experiments. So that's why we use in the universities blended methods.
Okay, right. Anyone else? Yes, Namana.
So I also want to add that Tel Aviv State University also shared the experience of blended method, because the faculties like agriculture and exact sciences, those who have lab sessions, so online teaching wouldn't work, and that's why they decided and preferred this face-to-face interaction and classes. But the rest of the faculties like humanities, social sciences, we delivered handed with synchronous classes quite well. And also, though, I want to say that our IT group, specialists did their best to train at the beginning. So they permanently gave trainings 2-3 times per week for the staff, for the academicians. But still, my apologies for some my professors or their ages who still have got some problems with technologies. That's fine for them. So they had a choice. I mean, they decided to choose this face-to-face, still just give face-to-face classes. So yeah, so we also did a blended method.
For me, thank you. Olga.
Yes. I teach at the Belarusian State University, and I also worked in that mode, hybrid mode, I mean, because at my university, the situation changes very unexpectedly, I would say. And I have a story, even a funny story, because once I've come to the class, to the room, at the university building, and I prepared printed tests and tests on the platform, because I had students in the classroom and online. So
hybrid.
Since a few classes before that were hybrid classes, because some lectures. However, that day, not one student came into the classroom. So of course, I did an online class from the university, and doing so, I spent resources on taxi and paper. So that was interesting because of unexpected situation. Yes.
Yes. Have the instructions on one side, and then we are going to move to the Padlet. Have you used Padlet before? Have you used Padlet before?
I have not used it. I
No.
know this tool,
No.
but I have not
No.
used it.
Okay,
No,
so
but I think it's easier. Yeah, we have just
yeah,
to
it's very
link
easy.
this.
Right,
Mhm.
we're going to, you had the invitation on my mail at the beginning of this session, so everybody managed to get in, right? I'm going to, and you have to go here. Let me show you first, okay? So here, can you see it now? You have, this is the Padlet, and we are going to work all day with these. You have my slide of the thing that I was saying, and you can add stuff, okay? Just with a thing, and then it says my experience or Tamara experience, and you say JT experience, okay? And you can, of course, if I'm in group 1, I'll do it in group 1. If I'm in group 2, I'll do it in group 2, okay? You can, when you add something, you can do lots of different things. You can do a link of your teaching experience. You can upload the PowerPoint, or you can do whatever, and then you can comment on the text. You can write Tamar experience, yeah? I did something wrong, experience. And then I can take a picture of me, for example, I don't know, okay? And I say save. Now I've taken a photo, and now the photo is there. Or I can add my whatever. You can add, oh, sorry, it doesn't. Or you can add, you know, a Google, or you can record a voice. You can tell the experience. First, you do it individually, right? So you post your individually, and then you share these with the discussion of the questions with your group, right? Yeah.
I think I've completed my task.
Okay, when I suppose you set your times, you have now more or less half an hour to discuss and present your experience to the rest, okay? With the questions that we were talking about, okay? Take care. I'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay.
List, at the end, you do a block, one of you, summarizing the best parts, why it worked well, the characteristics. It worked well because and the characteristics that from the 4 experiences. Okay?
A kind of joint presentation.
Yeah, well, a joint
right.
thing of what you discuss, okay? At the end of the column, or at the beginning, you can do whatever. If you can put it there, and then we'll see the 4 experience.
Is it okay if we just put it on a Word file and then upload, or should be a kind of PowerPoint presentation?
Whatever.
I see.
Or simply just a text or an image or whatever,
see, yeah.
Just summarizing, whatever you want to. It's just a kind of the beginning of the summary of what you discussed. You are very good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to do the last part, and as well we are going to do a task, but we're going to do a task first in couples, except that one group it could be a trio, and then I'll move you into 4s. So we're going to do another different managing the groups and all that, okay? And we'll do this part that I think is very interesting. This is quite new, and it's called the pig rat model. Have you heard about the pig rat model before?
No.
Right. So this is what we're going to watch a video now in English. I'll try to put subtitles, and it's the authors of this model who are going to explain to you what the pick rat model is. Okay. You already as well received an email to share the Google Drive of the course, okay? And eventually I'll explain to you, you'll have to go to session 1. And in session 1, you have the article that explains all about the pig rat. You don't have to read it now. It's just for you to read it later if you want. But now we are going to see a summary of 4 minutes video who the authors are explaining about this pig rat model. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So be attentive. I'm going to share, hold on. I'm going to share, let me see where I have the video. Let me see where I have the video. Hold on. That I have it here. I'm going to share it to you. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to put it bigger so there's no distraction. Can you see that? Can you? Just mark with your symbols and, you know, reactions and say, yeah, thank you. Then I'll get feedback. Perfect. So here you are.
When new technologies are invented, they often provide many new ways of thinking and doing things. For example, how have smartphones changed the way we live and work, or tablets, or even the internet? However, one problem we have as humans is that often we can't imagine very well the new possibilities available from new technologies. So instead we use them just to do the same things we have always done before. Teachers struggle with this too. We often teach the way we were taught and struggle to think of how we could teach better based on the technologies we have that our teachers did not have. Richard Culotta, former director of the Office of Educational Technology for the U.S. Department of Education, shared the following concern.
Here's the issue. If we are not careful, if we are not super cautious about all the decisions we make, in a very short amount of time, by the time the freshmen that are in this room have graduated, we will have a complete digital replica of the traditional practices that are not working today. And we will have everything that we have now. It will just be on a screen instead of on paper, and it will be just as ineffective, and it will cost a whole lot of money, and we'll be just as stuck as we will and not have another ticket to play to be able to make a change.
Our goal is to help you think critically about the technology you'll use in your classroom, and to begin to see the potential technology has to transform and engage students in the learning experience in new ways. To begin, we're going to show you a technology integration framework. Frameworks are tools we use to begin conversations. In this case, conversations about how we should use technology to improve student learning. Let me introduce the RAT model. The first letter R represents replacement. Replacement can mean the following. 1. Changes the appearance or dressing of our practices, but not the practice itself, making digital copies of traditional practices, recycling instruction. 2. It doesn't affect teaching or learning practices and behaviors. 3. Can still be a useful use of technology because it can increase access. For example, a digital worksheet won't get lost or eaten by your dog, but it doesn't really impact or improve learning. The A in RAT equals amplifying. In other words, technology improves the efficiency of tasks or introduces new functions to original tasks. The T in RAT equals transforming. It introduces new activities in learning that are impossible without technology. Take away the technology, take away the learning too. Next in our PIC-RAT model is the PIC portion. P equals passive. In other words, students are observers, bystanders in their learning. The I equals interactive. Students engage in material in an interactive way. They are active learners. The C equals creative. Students are creating materials themselves. They are creative learners instead of passive or active ones. This is the apex of student engagement, and students often learn deeper when they have to create something using the content. By combining PIC and RAT together, we create a matrix of the many different ways technology can influence teaching and learning. You could use a technology that replaces a face-to-face conversation and where students are passive learners, such as a video lecture, or where they get to interact back through technology, such as a video conversation, or where they get to learn by creating their own videos in a way that completely transforms the way you typically teach. The PIC-RAT model is a great tool for helping you to think about your teaching and how you use technology in the classroom. None of the squares on the matrix is necessarily a bad way to teach. Sometimes it's good to be a passive learner, for example, and listen to others, such as in this video. But a good teacher will continually evaluate their practice and think how they can improve. Using the PICRAT model can help you think about what kinds of ways you could use technology that will help students be more active and creative as learners, and ways that transform your teaching to levels you hadn't considered before. So when you hear about a new technology, don't just ask what it can do for you that you already are doing anyway. Think PICRAT and see if there's a way this technology can help you transform your teaching in positive ways.
Right. Quite interesting, isn't it? It's a quite interesting model, and it's a quite interesting model to plan your way of doing things with technology. It's not a very complex one. It's an easy one, and right. Okay, I'll put you in the groups, and you try to work with this Google Draw. Okay, and put your activities in the matrix.
I'm sorry.
Self-presentation and upload it on the Moodle platform. So it was absolutely transforming and
great.
Yes, so maybe we should Moodle post on these.
Perfect. You are great because you are discussing while you're doing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay. One second. Who's red?
Guys, red.
Both.
No. Okay. Choose one.
No. We have already distributed the paints. By the way, mine is blue. Manana is blue, and Olga is pink.
Okay. Right. So you can. I can destroy then the green one, because you don't need only two. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Right. And you have more time, so do not worry.
Okay. Well, I don't know how we handle with the task, but it's our decision to allocate our activities. Well, I don't know whether they are proper, or whether we allocate them properly in metrics, but still we do our best.
Well, the thing is that's why you're doing it in pairs, because is it correct that place or the other? There is no right answer, so it depends how you put it. The problem, the good thing of this model is that it helps you to frame the type of activities, and that's good. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so you'll have more time. We'll have more than at 4.
We've left some more activities.
Yeah. Okay.
So thank you. All right.
See ya. But I'm going to the other groups to check.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, in the matrix, you can put in the red or the blue or the green your name at the bottom, so we know who is referred to the task. So you can give one of these and put your name at the bottom. Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you, for example, matrix 6 to see what you have to do if you haven't done it. You see here in matrix 6, Likia and Shorena have put the names at the bottom. Okay, so you do these, right? This is one thing. The other thing is that when you have your name here, what you have to do is go to File, one of the pair, go to File, download it, and download it as a JPG. Sorry, JPG. Okay, you do it, and what you do is you then go to the Padlet, and there's a column. If you go to the Padlet, that it says PICRAT matrix G1. Aya has already done it. Okay, so you have to upload your matrix there. That the tasks that we do as a student, you can then apply it. I put you always in a situation as a student, so then you can reflect on what you could do with these same tools with your students. They are really powerful, as you can see. We've done simple, things that were not much complicated. You learn different apps like, using Padlet to share products. You could experiment, and for the next class, we'll continue doing the same thing. In every session, we'll end up with a new Padlet, okay? So that's going to be good. Basically, and as a summary, we have to reconfigure our teaching. Our teaching should be done in a different way. And we've seen it today and sharing with all the experiences. One important thing is that we have to plan carefully the synchronous and the asynchronous tasks. This is very important. What are we going to do asynchronous, and what are we going to do asynchronous? And this is as well depending on the situation and the competencies or the technical ability of your students. So maybe you cannot do a lot of asynchronous or synchronous depending on connection, for example. If they don't have a lot of very good connection, you have to reduce the synchronous and do more asynchronous. And this is something that you have to plan really careful to integrate what you're going to do synchronous and what you're going to do asynchronously. And last but not least, what you should do, as we did today, is foster interactive task and interaction in class. So this is what we did today. We did a lot of interactivity and we did a lot of interaction. We are going to discuss this next class. We are going to discuss this topic, interactivity and interaction.